Hey everybody, welcome to a special episode of What Drives Us for January 11th, 2017. My name is Russell Frost. I am your host tonight. There is no other hosts because they don't work overtime. And I do because I don't get paid. So, wait, they don't get paid either.
What? Somebody gets paid?
Yeah, no. Oh, God. But that other voice, the other person who's not getting paid, is our main man, our reporter on the move, the man who has attended the North American International Auto Show on our behalf, Mr. Mark Coughlan. Please welcome him.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. We thought we would put this together and give everyone a little bit of a viewpoint of what happened in Detroit this week, actually Monday. So.
Absolutely. And, we're going to talk about this in the normal episode of What Drives Us that starts just 50 some odd minutes from now. But I also, because Mark takes the time to drive 4 hours to Detroit in freaking January, which is not a pleasant time to visit Detroit. That's what I'm saying there. Detroit's otherwise a wonderful city.
Wonder what would happen if they held it in July.
Have you ever been to Detroit? I've been to Detroit. You see, that's a problem. I've been to Detroit in January, July, and August. You think maybe I'm a bad decision maker? I sweat I can't even tell you. August, it was miserable.
They get some humidity just like we do. Yep.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's the same weather as you, right?
Yep. It's only about 3 hours down the road. It's about 270 kilometers for those Canadians listening. For Americans, you'll have to do the conversion.
It's like 4.5 miles. I think. I don't know. Suffice to say, this is going to be mostly Mark's show. I'm gonna ask questions, and Mark's going to go. I do want to, on behalf of the show, though, thank him. Second or third year in a row, Mark?
Second.
Second year in a row, Mark has attended NAIAS on our behalf, and it is always awesome to have somebody there on the ground, as it were, reporting. So, Mark, take us away. Where do you want to start, my friend?
Well, I got a slideshow of sorts of some pictures so we can chat about that as we go along. I'll just fire up the screen share.
And I should note, if you're noticing fewer graphics on our screen, the Google YouTube Live app is messing with our heads and has taken away some of the things that we normally have. So if this seems a little less informative than it normally is, it's because we don't have the controls we need to do that. So we're doing our best. Sorry, Mark.
Correct. So what we've got here, I'm just jostling around with stuff. We've got, this is the parking garage that I parked at. And since, of course, I showed up in my Volt, there's a rather large amount of electric cars that come to this particular parking garage. And you can see the bolts were already out in numbers.
Look at all the dirty bolts.
Yeah, so these guys are probably belong to GM employees, most of them. I would say all of them. Because this parking garage is right downtown Detroit, close to the Renaissance Center, where GM is headquartered. But kind of cool that there's over a dozen level 2 chargers in this parking garage. And I've parked here before, and they're always filled with electric vehicles. That's kind of cool.
Right. Well, and the Renaissance Center is GM, one of the GM headquarters buildings.
Yeah, that's the world headquarters, is the Renaissance Center.
Yeah. So
just a couple shots of the garage. We got volts and bolts all over the place. One time we did see a Tesla parked here, but not today. I don't know how they let him in, but
interloper.
And here we are in line to get our media credentials. That was a fun fiasco, wasn't it, Russell?
Did everything go? I didn't even ask.
Everything went fine.
Wonderful.
Everything went fine. So your contact did us proud, and the credentials were waiting for us upon arrival.
Wonderful. Thank you, Fran at Dada, by the way, for that. Look at that.
There's the orange. Got orange this year. I think it was green last year.
Yeah.
Very neonish colors. And then we strolled in, and the first exhibit we hit on the front door was the Chevy exhibit.
What a coincidence!
I don't know why that was, but could be something with the presenter. You don't never know. And the Bolt, of course, was front and center. There were no electric announcements at the show for Chevy, of course. There's nothing new. Their car, of course, has won the Car of the Year award, which is another award besides the Motor Trend Award. So that was interesting to see that they had won that at the start of the show. It was announced the day we were there. And then there was a Volt area where they had a couple of Volts. Love that blue. But that was in a special area for just the electric car section. And then we wandered over to the Ford. And that was kind of interesting because we didn't see the electrics to start with for Ford. They were somehow buried. So they were kind of disappeared into the back area underneath the second floor that they had set up. So it even took us a little while to find it. But again, nothing new was actually there for Ford. They had their standards, as you can see. This is the Fusion. They had the Focus, and they had the
C-Max?
The C-Max Electric, yes. Now, they didn't even have a C-Max Electric. They just had a C-Max Hybrid. But, you know, obviously they do sell an electric.
Well, they claim to, at least.
I've seen it. It does exist.
It does exist. Oh, yeah.
Just
Mark's
was not at this show.
Seen it in the wild. I've seen it in the wild, too.
And over into the Dodge area, Chrysler had their Pacifica on display. And as you can see, this was their top of the line model, and you can see in the placard to the right that it was priced out at almost $42,000 for the top of the line version, which is, you know, it's not crazy. We had a seat in it. The seats were great, leather. Yeah. The inside was nicely appointed. Very nice looking car, inside and out. And for the price that they're charging with a rebate either in the US or Canada, I would say that it's an easy choice to pick over the gasoline model. You're basically paying the same price, if not a little bit cheaper with the incentives. Yeah,
absolutely. And you've got a decent plug-in range. That thing is plush.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So I think we've got there's a shot of the inside.
Yeah.
From the middle row seat. And what was kind of weird, well, I guess it's normal now, but that is the gear shift in the center.
Yeah.
Silver dial.
I love that.
So you've got a radio knob that will change you from park to reverse to drive to low. I guess it's the way that it is. I remember I had a Caravan at one point, and our shifter had moved on to the console, and I thought that was kind of strange when that happened. But now they've gone to this little radio knob, really.
It's, push button start, we're smart key, push button start, the lack a joystick or a knob as a gear selector. I mean, this is the next generation of vehicles. These are like standards now. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, you're right. It's all heading in that direction. So the manual shifter knob is something that is really becoming a thing of the past.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I think that's one of the weird anomalies on the Prius C that Toyota decided to stick with that shifter. I'm sure it was a cost issue, but it makes the whole thing feel much less Prius-y.
Right,
because you got this 4 on the floor, kind of manual shifter knob, and it's like, this isn't right,
It's funny. My car has the shifter as well, and it's all it is really a button. I have a shifter, but it is a button
right.
Because it's just electronically controlled, right? So the shifter is just there for a human to have a good time with it. It just shifts as the old-fashioned. And we just had another join.
Mr. Tony Schaefer joins us in progress on our special Detroit Auto Show. Hey, Tony.
Hey, everyone.
We were just kind of getting started. Mark was going through the stuff that he saw, and he's got a little slideshow here, and I'm asking stupid questions.
Oh, great. And I'm just sitting here going through the week's news, and I get a email that says, "What Drives Us is live now."
And you're like, I'm missing. No. Did you read the whole email first, or?
No, I just saw it because I get the emails like all the other people who subscribe, and it says, "What drives us is live now."
Well, hi, Tony.
Hi, everyone.
Are you going to stay and join us for this show and then the next show, or just?
Oh, I'm in for a twofer.
Go back. All right. Well, let's
There
take
we
it.
go.
Take it away, Mark.
And of course, the concept vehicle for Chrysler was there as well. I was glad to see the Portal, which is their new minivan built on the same frame as the Pacifica, but completely electric. And of course, a lot of whiz-bang looking stuff inside this vehicle. It is definitely a concept vehicle. It had the, as we say, these kind of pocket doors that slide open both ways, almost like a pocket suicide door.
You're right.
Huge, of course, hinges on these things to keep them out there. You've got at the bottom base of the doors, you've got glass that you can see through. And I don't know what the allure is for seeing through the car to people's feet from the outside. From the outside, I don't get it. I don't really know why they do it. But
it's not like your feet get tan or something. You know what I mean? Like it's like a foot fetishist design.
That is really interesting. You mentioned that, Mark. I had actually never thought about looking into the car from the outside. I was thinking about looking from the inside to make sure you're parking between the yellow lines or whatever.
I guess that's an idea.
That's interesting. Or maybe if you have really short pets,
they can look out.
Or did I get that squirrel? Did I really get him?
Wow.
Yeah, watch it live as you drive past it. That's
it's like a horror film. Yes,
I'm going to cry.
Other side, they had the doors shut. You'll see the gentleman with the laptop and the blue cable hooked to the car. They were having some issues while we were there.
With their concept vehicle?
With the concept vehicle. So
what was it supposed to be doing other than just sitting there looking pretty?
Well, you see that they had a real concerned look on their face, and there was probably 4 of them, so we decided just to let them be. We did not want to upset them.
Excuse me, sir, I have a whole bunch of questions.
Yeah.
They were at least so concerned with what they were doing, they weren't too concerned that we were getting them on camera. So it was all right with us.
I'd like to know when the test drives start. Excuse me.
Kind of, and then you can see the reflection of the door shut. You can see inside through the bottom window there.
Yeah.
I guess that's weird. Maybe is that like the shoe companies have bribed them and say, we want to shame people who drive with cheap footwear.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that I pointed this out in a previous episode that this back corner here has windowed with some black dots on it, I guess, to give some layer of privacy or blockage of light. But it was interesting that this stretched right across the roof, and it was a completely glass roof. So probably something that would not make it all the way through to production, but it kind of looked cool.
It's a neat touch, I think.
It looks beautiful, but great way to fry the people in the back seat in the Southwest.
Yeah, nothing like being inside a microwave oven.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you can get a sense of the way these doors fold out and are pretty far out from the car, and there's a couple of large black beams that are holding this in place and allowing it to slide open.
That's a good idea, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's a nightmare, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean it's a cool looking vehicle, but
once
again, this is like diving deep on the concept cars is always just such a crappy proposal. You know, because it's
and then one other thing was that this back area here, it's a storage case, so you can unclip it with a lock from the outside, and it folds down like a piece of luggage. You can put stuff in it and shut it and lock it to the outside of the vehicle.
Firearms in Florida, I'm guessing.
Of course,
where you keep your rifle.
That's I have a hard time imagining it's much thicker than that. I mean, how was it? Did you ever see it open, Mark?
No, they didn't open it for us. It wouldn't be. I would say maybe that at its thickest part, it was like maybe 4 or 5 inches thick. That's about it.
Yeah,
that'll hold a rifle.
Yeah.
there's a better shot of it.
That's interesting.
The key that locks it gets you into it.
I always, they have focus groups and meetings and more focus groups and more meetings and brainstorming sessions and to come up with names of these things. And how did they possibly settle on Portal?
A very popular video game.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. I think every year they have a tougher and tougher time because more and more names are taken, and it seems that many automakers are straining to come up with new names for their new vehicles. It's a continual problem that they have. That the names get stranger and stranger because there's less to choose from.
Yeah, they could just do the Cadillac thing where you just grab some Scrabble tiles, throw it on the floor, and see what you come up with.
Exactly. Yeah.
I actually like Portal as a name.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I don't know why, but I do. I think it's absolutely fun.
Because it kind of sounds like turtle.
Yeah, and I love turtles so much, as everyone knows.
Right.
And here, of course, is the front of the car, and I don't know how much of the blue cord they're going to give you with the normal car. Right. I'm not sure, but again, a question we probably should have asked but didn't.
I was just going to say, excuse me, sir. The car itself, when it comes out, it will be wireless, right?
It's electric, but not wireless. That's how they cut down on weight.
This was a little concept by it's a consortium of different companies that put together an autonomous concept. It was a little bizarre, but it was electric, so we took a few photos. And I love the inside. Here it is, like 2 large screens with, of course, what you want to do when you're driving. Get on Facebook, Twitter, all the essentials.
Oh, that's awesome.
No Speedo, a steering wheel, gas pedal, and Facebook.
Wow.
So that would be a fun ride, I'm sure.
What's hilarious. I'm sorry. You know what? I should probably stick you up here, but what's the little screen down by your feet? Is that for short beds again?
That's that of course is part of this foot thing that's going on in the 22nd century. Maybe your feet will have eyes at that point. Maybe that's why the windows are required in the Portal. So that could be the same thing.
That looks like the little flap that prints your receipt. I'm not sure what for.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was interesting.
Well,
here's a kind of a cool concept that was there. This Lexus model. What struck us immediately were the tires. We just could get over these wacky Goodyear tires that were on the vehicle. And of course, again, suicide doors. It was the theme of the show. All the concepts seemed to have suicide doors.
Tony, didn't we see this in New York? And isn't this the rim that would instantly shred the tire?
I think it was, maybe. I do remember that that like Batman looking tire.
Yeah. The spikes go actually out over the edge of, yes.
Oh yeah. Okay. I
remember, like, so you take a turn really hard and all of a sudden they look really cool, but it was cool. Admittedly, but what you can see here on the inside driver and passenger seat is that the seat is made of basically leather straps. So you're in a hammock, is what you're saying. Cars are getting kinkier. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. But, I realize this is. Well, every once in a while, you have to take even a car that's not meant for distance and drive a distance on it. And I just can't imagine sitting 3-4 hours in a seat that's just straps, like an old school lawn chair.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what we thought of. It's like an old school lawn chair. Yeah.
I don't remember the interior at all. I just remember those weird wheels. But it's that's going to look like that when it comes out, I'm sure.
Here's a question for Tony.
Yes.
So we saw the new Prius Prime.
I was going to say that's Prime, isn't it?
We pushed the button to open up the fueling area for the electrics, and lo and behold, there's a second area that is blocked off with nothing.
Right.
What would that area be for, Tony?
That is for generating curiosity and buzz.
Wow. There were a lot of people just kind of buzzing around, so I think it probably worked. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to make a guess. I don't know, and that's something that we can probably ask Toyota, and maybe they'll even tell us.
It's interesting.
I'm asking Google right now, and I know that I read about it on Prius Chat, but I would have to dig the forums to come up with the answer. I do think that it could be a slot for international markets.
Ding, ding, ding. That's what I was thinking. Just a slot for a different plug. Now, why they wouldn't just make the plugs, the sockets interchangeable is beyond me, but maybe there's a reason, wiring or something.
Because, of course, we were seeing some electrics with just L2, and then there were some L3s that were there, and we just did not understand why this blank plate would be here. Because, of course, the Prime, I don't believe, only comes with a L2, nothing higher.
Yes. I believe that's correct.
Never even thought of the international aspect, but that does make sense.
It is a global vehicle.
Yeah. And there's a shot of the outside. Kind of an interesting blue they had on display. I kind of liked it. Russell didn't. You can tell by his reaction.
It looks better in person than it photographs. But it's not my favorite color. I think the car looks better in other colors. But this is like one of the show cars that they've been, flogging at all the shows.
So that was nice to see, and of course, the unicorn was there as well. They had it prominently displayed with a couple of examples behind it that we'll get to that explain the different systems that are involved in this car. There is the full-size model mock-up of the hydrogen input, the actual canisters, and the battery on top here that collects the excess battery current, and then of course your fuel cell in the middle and your motor up front.
Yeah, the fuel cell stack sits under the driver's seat. It's very small.
Yeah,
very small.
And they had a hydrogen dispenser at the show.
Just to prove they exist.
Since hydrogen is everywhere, it's apparently in Detroit inside the exhibition area.
Did you fill up while you were there?
Well, we did press some buttons and nothing happened. So it was clearly just a demonstration piece.
Oh, that's too bad.
But I don't know if you can notice. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit here. But hydrogen is sitting at $5.97 per kilogram. So for those hoping to save from gas, you are in for a big surprise.
I don't honestly. I'm not sure what that translates to in an equivalent gas per mile.
Yeah, no idea.
Or how far it'll go in for a what was it? A
kilogram.
$5.97 per kilogram.
Yeah, how far can it go on a kilogram of hydrogen?
And how many kilograms would that canister take? I'm not sure. Maybe it's only something like 5 or something. I'm guessing. I have no idea.
The canister is just like a regular gas tank. You just keep going until you can see the fuel like sitting right at the edge. You just keep pumping.
Yeah, I'm sure that's how hydrogen works.
You jump on the back bumper.
Yes, you have to rock it to make sure it settles. Yeah.
I'm having visions of someone that we're not going to mention all of a sudden. Yeah,
oh, that's good. And of course, the new Prius was at the show as well.
Oh, is that Gen 5?
Oh, yeah. God.
This is the Prius Prime Plus, I believe.
This is the new Toyota embarrassment.
Yes.
And this was just like a space mobile. We were taking a look at this and just just wonder as to why on earth would this be here. It's kind of ugly. It's bizarre. It's what it is. And it's all labeled around fuel cell and fuel hydrogen is all written on it. There's a second one that was there with it. We'll get to in a moment, which was like a little Tron cycle.
They've had the FC. They've rolled out this FCV. Oh, fuel cell vehicle. I was gonna say they've rolled out like iterations of this thing. Oh, and the pod.
No, not a trike. Oh, for God's sake.
The FV2 was like this unit. It's a 4-wheeled vehicle. Two wheels at the front and the back, and 2 on the side.
Yeah.
But
no, Russell, do you remember the New York Auto Show last year? They had, and it was this, except the top. It was like it was an unfinished thing. The top was all LEDs. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember something else, but it doesn't match either one of these. So I'm gonna have to go back and look at my photos.
Yeah.
So this does have that LED thing, Tony. It's got an exterior that lights up in different LED patterns. So the wheels, the silver wheels, they turn into LED patterns that spell things and messages come across it. And the whole back shell of it is an LCD panel that will light up with different patterns as well.
So important for getting to work.
Or, telling somebody that you're going to run them over.
And here's what it looks like when the back wheel falls off.
Yeah.
Well, it was showing the demonstration mode was showing how it could go into tight turns. So the one side would lower and the other side would stay the constant, and it would allow the vehicle to turn faster.
That open shell looks like the head plate from Alien.
Yeah. Exactly. This is the kind of stuff that looks great in the set of Minority Report or maybe Blade Runner.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm sure movies rent them all the time.
Yeah, but sitting next to real cars, it's sort of like, seriously? I mean, oh look, that's our favorite company.
Yes, our favorite e-Golf from Volkswagen. So they had this on display. Again, they've done an incremental upgrade to the e-Golf. It is basically their only electric car that they have in reality at this point. And of course, it's a first generation model with just some upgrades to it. Not a huge change, but again, kudos. It looks exactly like a regular Golf. There's no difference.
It's just as boring as a Golf. I mean, and that is a strength in a lot of ways.
It is, because it's a normal car. Like it fits the pattern. Nobody has to. The only thing that gives it away is the extra blue across the front and the tail.
That's crazy. Crazy.
Out of control.
And on to the BMW booth, and of course some eye candy just sitting right there, the i8. Again, it's getting a little bit of a boost to electric range, but it was not announced at the show. This is just their previous model with the 3-cylinder motor as the assist. But again, there's a couple things that have been rumored, which BMW was not sharing anything with us about the increase in EV range, and the rumor that the i8 will become a fully electric vehicle in its next iteration as well.
But by any chance, did you talk to the people at BMW?
We were just able to speak to the booth people, the people that are there answering questions. And of course, some of them don't know.
In New York, snottiest people at the show.
Oh, really?
Booth. Absolutely. Yeah. People at Land Rover were downright hospitality. But BMW is like, we don't have time for this.
We had no problem with anybody at the show. They were all hospitable. They were all happy to speak with us. So it was good to see. And of course, the regular i3 was there as well. Again, no real changes except for a minor increase in EV range for the 2017 models, a little bit of a bump. And the back of the BMW i8.
Not a bad.
Oh, let me go back. One thing. They do have a BMW 5 that was at the show. I was extremely disappointed with the range in that car. Like it's really nothing. It's, you're basically talking, 18 miles.
What?
For the EV range on this the 5. And it was like, I don't know, this just doesn't make any sense to me. Why that 5 would be so low.
That's weird. So it's a plug-in hybrid?
It's a plug-in hybrid. It has a plug, but it's like 18 or 19, I believe it was.
So we just threw some double A's in the trunk. You're good, guys.
Exactly. And to Tony's comment, here's the C6,
Right.
CT6.
C-section.
The
I hope
Cadillac with the plug.
I hope it's just the picture, or is the hood about 15 feet long?
The hood is 15 feet long.
Yeah.
It's
Really?
absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
And that
This
badge,
is a massive car.
that badge, I could hide behind that badge on the front. Okay, that is enormous.
And again, similar to some of the other EVs, the Cadillac plug-in CT6 was at the back, close to the second story, underneath, hidden.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's almost like it's the stepchild, right? That they had to throw it in. Although they did throw in an actual charging post and had it plugged in. So
I don't think there's any almost about it. It was really like, oh yeah, we make EVs too. Have you seen our autonomous car?
Well, yeah, but the post. I mean, was it real or was it just a prop?
it was a prop. It was a prop that lit up. At least they tried.
It did light up. Yeah,
The
I see
prop
that
lit
they
up.
wired it.
So it had some power to it. I am sure it was not powering the car.
You're right.
And there it is plugged in.
It's
Very nice appointed leather inside this car. It was quite rich on the inside. Very nice looking. But of course, this car is, notice the carbon fiber around the vents.
when
So,
will
like,
that be uncool?
This car is, we're talking a starting price of $72,000, and you could ramp it up to close to $100,000 if you wanted to.
So you're still under a Tesla. So if you don't have 105, you can get this for a measly 97.
95, 97. Yeah.
You can buy a Model S for that much.
Yeah, I know.
Which oddly I don't think has any carbon fiber like that visible. When is that look going to be over? Because
Oh, they've got a ton of it left over from when it was fashionable.
They bought it in bulk.
Right.
Yeah.
So
They're trying to use it, damn
it's
it.
everywhere, man. It's going to show up in the Spark next year. It's
that
gonna be
came off
everywhere.
the 75. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, just is that the steering wheel from the Lumina?
Tony with the steering wheel. Yes, indeed.
Had to throw that in.
it could be bigger just to hold the badge.
Yeah, and over here, that's a rocker, and it was just screaming at me when I was looking at it. And just to note that this is a fully functioning EV. This has an 18.4 kilowatt battery in it. So it is on par with the current Volt. Now, of course, it being a much larger car and heavier, that plays with the range. But this car can easily get you somewhere in the area of 35 miles in EV range.
It's got a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, so that thing must charge pretty quickly, huh?
Yeah.
It's not, but it's really more of a hybrid. It's not a serial or parallel.
No, it's not. This
Right,
is a definite plug-in, similar to the Voltec system. Some of the Volt building blocks have been put into this car. It's just that the battery is placed in a different position than a Volt.
Okay, so it is the same system as the Volt, though. In other words, the gasoline engine does not, except under exceptional circumstances, drive the wheels.
Correct.
So why do they need a 2-liter turbo 4-banger to charge the battery?
Oh, they're not. Well, again, they're using that 2-liter turbo to actually produce electricity, as well as it can assist mechanically if you're putting your foot into it.
Okay. Because it's so heavy and
It's a monster car.
It's a
This is a really large car. And going from large to small.
Yeah. Wow. You need to prepare us for this.
Did you find that hanging off somebody's keychain?
The smart car booth was really cool because, of course, they don't need a lot of space. So it's not a huge, massive show floor. But it was very cool that they did the floor completely in white, and then they had all these vibrant colors sitting on the white floor. It was really striking. It was a good setup and a nice viewing of their products.
Oh, that's good.
And of course, they had a number of electrics on the floor, as well as their gas version looks exactly the same. The only difference being this little symbol in the back corner here, which shows
dysfunction.
A plug. Yeah.
Did they talk about the range or anything on the new Smart E?
I'm embarrassed to say that I didn't ask about the Smart E. I don't know what the new range is, or if there's a modification to the present version or not.
Normally, I might blame you for that, but no, I'm not.
Are they still calling it the electric drive, the Smart ED?
They are. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they seriously, they're calling it ED.
ED, right.
The ED, yes.
Yeah. Every middle-aged man says, I want to stay the hell away from that.
And the last thing I want is ED. They have pills for that.
I'm sorry, my car says ED? What are you,
God. It's not how you pick up chicks.
So the electric drive symbol on the front, a little bit over. Like, do you really need electric drive written in green on the front? Like, I don't know. It's not a great style as far as I'm concerned.
I'm all for the electric version. I don't. The gas version still mystifies me to say, like, why are otherwise rational human is going to go out and buy a 60 mpg mini car?
Right.
It's like, have you been in a Prius?
I only know a few people who admit to having ever owned a Smart for two, and not a single person really enjoyed driving that car.
I've heard they're kind of go-kartish in the fun, but they've also got that problem that they kind of hop around because of the short wheelbase.
They're light. They get blown around on the freeway. If you can get up to freeway speeds, which, yeah.
And I know maybe the first generation had really bad shifting problems. They shifted extremely hard.
That's a very nice color.
Yeah, so they were all these kind of crazy colors, and again, it added to their attention grabbing. I think it was a good display. They did well.
Very cool.
And back to the Volt area.
These people.
So just a couple shots, and of course the Bolt was there as well. In a couple of different colors, and they had it up on a few different display areas at different sections throughout the show.
Don't change that picture yet. The gentleman in the upper right, is he the one you interviewed last year about the battery pack?
That is a good eye. You know what? It just may be him.
It may be him.
It just may be him. They did not have the battery pack display at the show. That's shown in the video. But you know what? He looks very familiar.
Does you mentioned like him? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they had this wasn't. They didn't hide it under the stairway or in the closet or
Yeah, this was front and center. So
were you allowed to poke around in it?
I'm sorry?
No, sorry to interrupt, but were you allowed to poke around in it? Was anyone allowed to open the doors?
This one was on one of those turntables with a glass embankment around it. So no, we weren't able to touch this one. But at a previous one, we were able to get in it. Yes.
All right.
So it's spinning around just to show the different angles of the car.
Oh, yes.
And of course, look at the size of that award.
Wow.
That is a huge.
Can you imagine getting that in the mail?
Just how much does it cost to ship that?
I bet it's solid stone base and solid metal.
The top is surely completely solid gold. So
I'm sorry, they're selling concert shirts across the aisle there? What? For what?
Detroit Auto Show. Yeah.
Everyone.
My parents went to the Detroit Auto Show, and I got this crummy T-shirt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And all I got was this crummy Volt Gen 1.
Yeah.
Boo!
Presentations.
So this is the media center where all the media people are able to set up and plug in their laptops to a Wi-Fi and hard connection cable. It was impressive. There were thousands of media people at this event.
Yeah, no doubt.
And down on the second floor, they had. This was outside of the main hall. It was in a different hall, Hall B.
They call that Loser's Alley. I'm sorry. That's not true.
And of course, this is the Fisher Karma reboot, just being called Karma. But again, a very large automobile, huge hood, great styling. Looks fantastic.
Oh yeah, always has.
It's always been a nice looking car from afar away. Could you get up close to it?
Well, as you can see, we're fairly close. We didn't get inside because they had some prospective buyers there, so we just let them try to sell it.
Of the company, of the car?
Yeah, the company.
I mean,
could have been both. I'm not sure.
Selling at NAIAS. I mean, my God. No, I was just wondering because I mean, one of the big problems with the Fisker Karma when it came out was that it looked awesome in commercials and it looked awesome far away. As soon as you got close, you saw how shoddily it was put together. And I heard that almost universally from people that had driven it and been in it.
So the fit and finish was not there.
Very poor. I mean, like that grill work in the front and the original one was like bad foam or something. So it looked great in cameras, but when you got there, you were like, holy shit, is that plastic?
Yeah.
Like
and
bad plastic?
Yeah, the original, and I saw this on a video, the original had the exhaust. The exhaust was like right in front of the windows or something, wasn't it?
And if the windows were down a bit, you'd probably be sucking on fumes.
Yeah, you would. You'd be literally sucking on your own fumes.
Yeah. I remember seeing a video of that. That was kind of distressing. Interesting. The Leaf was there at the Nissan booth, but again, another group that was almost hiding the car. It wasn't quite as bad as Ford, but it was kind of in the back behind a pickup truck. So we actually walked by it the first time, didn't even see it. And on our second pass through, we were saying, we haven't seen the Leaf. And then we went specifically looking for it and we found it.
Yeah, that was the same with New York.
No announcement at the show. There was the possibility that the second Leaf would be announced. We spoke to a Nissan representative, and he just basically said, I can't tell you anything. There is a new Leaf coming, but you're right. It's probably not going to be announced here. And sure enough, during their main announcement, it was not mentioned.
It's fascinating to me how much of a redheaded stepchild the Leaf is in Nissan's lineup. I mean, they spend just an enormous amount of resources talking about the GTR and blah, 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 and all of this. And Leaf is like forgotten.
And considering that in the grand scheme of things, the Leaf essentially broke the market open for commercially available mass-produced electric vehicles that people, swarm around.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like they just dropped it.
And it's not like the rep didn't even know it. Like the rep knew that, the Leaf has sold 250,000 cars. Like 250,000 of these have been sold. And it's worldwide the best-selling EV on the planet.
It boggles the mind.
That's a lot of Leafs.
I just want to believe that in the background they are working on like Leaf 2, and it's going to just blow your mind.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
It's gonna have a new chrome logo on the front or something.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I do too. I hope that because I like the Leaf. I thought the Leaf was a cool car.
It's going to have not one but 2 solar panels on the back spoiler.
And as we're wandering around, we bumped into Mr. John Volker of Green Car Reports.
And in case you don't know him by looks, he's the gentleman on the right. Yes, there you go.
So John was in the Chevy booth at the time, and we had a great conversation with him after he had spoken to this gentleman. So
Did you shake his hand and thank him for writing our show?
Well said, Tony. Well said. John's wearing a suit. It must be that merger thing or something.
Here's the other side of the VW. Their announcement. They come on, Russell. Look at the monitor. Come on.
You know you like it. You know you love it.
This
Just let
is
it
the
wash
second
over you.
iteration of their ID vehicle, the minibus. Here it is in all its glory, the ID Buzz. So it looks a little bit weird, yes. It's very spacey inside and out. I've got some facts here. 111 kilowatt battery that'll give you 270 miles of electric range, completely electric. Apparently a build date of, wait for it, because you will be, 2022.
So like right around the corner.
2022. Right.
Yeah.
Hold your breath, assholes. That's what
it's almost here. It's interesting, though, that this is the second iteration, because last year they had the other ID minibus that looked similar but different than this one.
Yeah.
And again, last year's, I believe, had 100+ kilowatt battery as well. So I'm not sure what the game is here. Is this just another iteration? Is it getting it better? I don't know. I don't understand it.
I think it's kitschy cute. You can laugh at me all you want.
I think you're insane.
I know.
I think it's the ugliest version of one of the all-time ugliest vehicles that was kitschy cute because it was so ugly. This is like someone who hated the original microbus drew a cartoon of it to make it look stupid. I'm sorry. Did I disagree with Tony too violently? I'm sorry, Tony.
Pretty bold words.
I'm sorry, Tony. I
have to go call my mother.
Okay. Look at that. Hey, there's two Volkswagen executives who aren't in jail.
Oh my goodness.
Out in the wild.
It writes itself.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Wow. I got a million of them, folks. I'm red hot tonight.
Here's the other unveil that happened, the Audi Q8, which there, of course, is a e-tron version of this car as well. So this is a 2018 model they're gunning for, and the e-tron will have, again, specs were kind of light, but they were saying that they were going to hit that 35-mile range, EV range, with that e-tron.
Wow.
So, and this car was a monster as well. Very large.
Yeah.
It looks. Yeah.
It looked intimidating. Man, the light system on it was incredible. The LEDs, I don't know if that's going to make it to production, but it was, and again, an interesting color. That medium blue was stunning with the black background. It really popped with the lights they were showing on it, which obviously is what they're trying to do. But an excellent look for that car. Although you'll notice that it's got no door handles. And again, concept cars sometimes don't come with them because they feel it breaks up the look of the car. You know, not like you'd ever use a door handle in real life, but
why? I mean,
they're just there for looks. They're
you park that thing in the driveway and just look at it. Yeah.
I thought you just like tapped the door and it opened for you.
Again, we were just told about the concept thing. So
wasn't that the Faraday Future thing? Didn't Faraday
Future
have that?
And we noticed how well that worked during the demonstration.
Yeah. Their facial recognition demonstration worked awesome with the CEO of the company.
So that was kind of a surprise that this large vehicle is going to be an e-tron as well. Or be a version will have an e-tron. They'll have a standard gasoline version as well, most likely. Obviously, they will. But kind of interesting that this will get 35 EV miles as well.
Downhill.
Downhill. That's right. So that's the virtual tour of the show.
Yay!
Hey.
We probably traversed it in about, I would say, 4 or 5 hours it took to wander everything.
Wow, that's quick.
Well, we were on a schedule.
Well, we're going to wrap this up and say goodnight. We're going to skip our usual shout-outs, just other than for me to say once again thanks to Mark for attending the show and bringing back such a great report. We're going to talk about it if you watch the normal episode. If you haven't already seen this week's episode of What Drives Us, which we're going to start recording in about 6 minutes, Mark will have a very, very brief version of what you just saw, and we will tell you at that show, if you want to see the whole thing, you want to get all the dirt, watch this show. So my thanks to Mark Coughlan.
Yeah, great job, Mark.
Thank you.
Nicely done, sir. Nicely done. Again, nicely done. And thank you, Tony, for coming in early and helping, cheerleading and all that.
Sure, yeah, whatever.
Sure, whatever. Okay.
Who else would have made that steering wheel comment on the fly like that?
Right, yeah.
Good point. Good point. So for now, thanks again to everybody. Thanks to all of you for watching. Download us next time and find out what drives us.
Now I feel like I have to do something for the Chicago show.
Yeah. Come on, Tony. Come on. Improv, baby. Improv. There you go. See ya.